Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to Discussing Tabletop for October 28th, 2017. It's our 55th episode.
Echo.
I have the echo.
Oh wait, no, I have the echo.
I also had the echo.
Oh.
We both had the echo. I keep doing. It's like the only thing I keep forgetting to do is to mute that. I'm testing out the stream. How it look.
Echo.
Anyway, all right. Welcome. So today with us, of course, we have a special guest with us. We have Tom T. Lackman, Finn, Power VT. We'll have him talk about that to start out with. Of course, joining me as usual, and Wyrm. So why don't we dive into what our docket for today is? Of course, starting out, we will be talking about new virtual tabletop. Go on, ask him some questions about it, how it works, various things like that. Then when we go into the moves of the week, I do want to talk a bit about the Tomb Annihilation board game that's out. That's our news of the week. Alien Archive from Starfinder, which is sort of a bestiary but not. Dungeon Fantasy Companion, which apparently is a released version of Kickstarter exclusive. Okay. And then Munchkin Shakespeare, because Steve Jackson Games keeps doing stuff that makes us about it. Because apparently they also kickstarted this, which we want to talk about. Then we have our regular segments. We have a story from the table from our guest, our Kickstarter Korner, where we look at some Kickstarters that are out this week now that we're interested in, that we think would be cool to check out. Our week in gaming, and then an Ask the Table to out the day if there have any questions of us that you would like to ask. Why don't we dive into the start with the virtual tabletop Power VTT. All right, Tom, why don't you lead us by telling us a little about it?
Sure. So I started VTT on my own about 10 months ago. It was kind of born out of this idea that tabletops were either kind of old, they were clunky, they just weren't really optimized for what they were trying to do. And so I wanted to build something better. So I set out to just start with a map builder. I built this kind of map builder with community feedback. The first thing it really did was just export maps, and you could use them wherever. People really started liking the map builder so much that I expanded into a character builder, simple as it is, and then that led into online tools. And now I'm boasting an incredible set of features where we have like advanced dynamic lighting, weather, and all these cool things that you typically see in more premium tabletops, but I'm kind of offering at a lower base price. I have a marketplace to extend your encounters with, and I am actually going to be starting a Kickstarter soon. And what that's going to enable us to do is do a lot of really cool things, such as adding compendiums, so deep integration with your games and items, adding audio-video chat so you can see all your players in real life. Doing 3D dice, so you can eventually skin your dice and show everyone off some custom dice and whatnot, and just so many more. And we have a lot of cool incentives for backers too on Kickstarter.
Cool. All right, excellent. So, why don't we start with Wyrm, Joe? What kind of questions do you have here? Why don't we start with you two before I dive into what I kind of want to say?
Yeah. So, first, I want to say, this is actually really cool, because I have Fantasy Grounds, I have Roll20, I've tried map builders Pro Fantasy, and actually a good one is Dungeon Painter Studio on Steam, and I haven't looked into this a ton, but it actually seems like it's. I just opened it up today, so. But you've got the grid. You've got. Yeah, I mean, I'll have to play with it, but the fact that it's got this, it seems to be a little bit more geared towards, as you said, the map builder was the original piece, which I like because I love my maps. But also you have something, so this is actually two things. Fantasy Grounds has really good story. The way you can map out your story in it is great. And then you've got Roll20, which has the great mapping software and stuff. And it's really nice that this one actually works a little bit better to combine those two, which is something missing from each of them. that I feel is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of Power BT is built around the central vault, which is where a lot of everything you manage is stored. The central idea of a vault makes it really easy to bring items between games and share content between games, because a lot of players, I hear that a lot with the software that exists today, is that it's hard to say, oh, I have this great character, or I built this great NPC, or I have this great item in this game. I want to bring it to this other game, but I have to manually transfer all the traits, or I have to manually do all this stuff. And I think the software out there now is starting to dabble in this, but we're built on that foundation that, everything is managed through this central vault, and then you can bring it to a game. You can bring it to the editor. You can bring it to your character builder. If your friend uploads a really cool character, you could download that to your system and then bring it into another game.
Cool. For me, I would say the big question I have is, how would you expand upon the assets you have? Because you do have a whole lot of assets to start out with. What's the plan for uploading kind of more, adding in more as you go?
Glad you asked. It's a great question. There's a couple avenues we're actually going from here. One is I actually am working with many-sided dice to bring the Lost Artifacts of Greygast, which is a 500-page RPG bestseller, or drive-through RPG bestseller. That's being digitized as a compendium inside Power BTT, so that's a new area we're going to be expanding into. The marketplace is these compendiums and these full item books. If enough people poke wizards, maybe we can get official integrations as well. I won't get my hopes up, though. And another area we're going that no other tabletop will be offering is asset subscriptions. So if you're a GM who really likes building maps and custom encounters and things like that, you don't want to spend $4.99 per pack, or you don't want to spend $6.99 per pack, you could pay this monthly subscription and get like a ton of content and use it whenever you want.
Cool. Joe, how about you? Got any good questions?
Well, one, I wanted to make a comment. The map builder seems very easy to use, very, you don't even really need to read the instructions. You can kind of just click and play with it and figure it out really quick.
That's good to hear. Thank you.
Yeah. I do like also the price points you have are really good. The subscriptions are not like outrageous or anything like that. And the pack pricing for more download content is really great. What are you looking at towards more of the character builder? Because it's nice, but it is very basic. I'm just curious to what you're looking at doing with that.
Yeah, so it's very basic right now because, like I said, everything is community driven. I come from sort of this entrepreneurial background where I listen to customer feedback and I weigh what's important. So the character builder is simple because it wasn't really the most requested feature. What was requested was, advanced dynamic lighting and all these features that people really would start playing with that would bring them online. So the character sheet right now just supports D&D 5e. However, I am expanding that into custom character sheets. So you will be able to sort of like a Roll20 type system, design your own character sheets for, Starfinder, for whatever games you want, and then use that in-game. Obviously, that will tie into a larger macro language, which I'm building as well. And the macro language is open source, so whoever wants to work on the language and whoever wants to work on the parser itself actually can as well.
Nice. Cool. That's definitely that's a very good one for having other character sheets for other systems. That was something.
It's a big requested feature right now. I know that is my biggest missing feature right now is not supporting other systems, and a lot of people want that.
Well, I do have one more criticism. You don't have cave construction on Gabriel from Gabriel Picard.
He probably gave it to me. I've been doing all these uploads manually though. Which one is? If you send me it, I'll get it uploaded for you.
It's cave construction.
Okay.
It's like CON dash like struction or something is like a con save, or no, it's like con save struction or something like that. It's kind of odd.
I'll see if he sent that one to me, and I'll see if I can get it uploaded.
Because those ones are like cave systems, and you really need them. They're a pretty big core of his stuff, I think.
That's a valid suggestion. Thank you.
So what kind of things can we expect from the Kickstarter? What kind of stretch goals are you hoping for? What kind of I know usually basic funding is for, of course, basic funding, but what's overall plans you can tell us right now?
Yeah, so a lot of it is to extend our reach. Right now, we live in kind of a marketing age where if you're not screaming at the top of your lungs, it's hard to get your word across. So what a lot of the Kickstarter is going to be for is just supporting kind of a baseline of rent. Like I live out of an apartment, right? It's just going to support 6 months of that, and it's going to support 6 months of marketing Power VTT. Now, with that 6 months of what I'm going to be working on is a bunch of stuff. Like I said, the 3D dice is coming, advanced fog of war, macros, a compendium, audio and video chat. We're going to be internationalizing Power VTT, so it'll be translated to other languages for people that are not used to English. We're going to optimize it for the screen. Actually, if you go to Power VTT on your phone right now, it does work. It's just not completely optimized yet. So that's going to be a part of that too. So if you want a GM from your phone or something, you know, that's totally possible. And yeah, so part of the Kickstarter, what we're offering is I worked with Jared Blando. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but you know he does these amazing cartography maps and encounters for D&D, all custom painted, hand painted. So I commissioned him. That's an exclusive encounter for Power VTT. That'll be one of the incentives. As I said, the Lost Artifacts of Greygast, the complete 500-page book will be coming. I'm designing a launch t-shirt, so those who back at a certain level can have their name on the back, and a custom Power VTT kind of nice-looking, florally kind of graphic will be on the front. I worked with David, Meditating Monkey, and Gabriel Pickard for exclusive access packs you won't find anywhere else but Power VTT, so that will be coming. And then the two big rewards are dedicated developer support. So kind of what we're doing now on a feedback session. I'll listen to you for an hour every month. And then the big prize is that, you know, you get custom tokens designed for you, and then we distribute those tokens throughout Power VTT for free. So everyone who uses Power VTT basically sees your characters that you know, custom designed with your names and whatever. So you're kind of immortalized as a legend in Power VTT.
That's cool. I like that one.
I really like the fact that you're doing it with the phone app too, because that was one thing with Roll-D20 when I was trying to do character creation stuff. Sometimes I'm trying to do it when I'm not next to my computer, and it's like, oh, you have to have a tablet that's at least this size to even try to access it.
Yeah, and I'm an engineer, right? So if I can get technical for a second, the more you spread yourself across different platforms, so having an iOS app, having an Android app, having a web app, having a desktop app, having all these different things, it really spreads your time across what you can fix in what priority order, right? If I just have a website, right? That's it, right? The desktop app I have as well, but that just loads the website. So I'm just managing one thing. So the mobile experience is one thing. The desktop app is one thing, the website is one thing, meaning I can fix things fairly fast and easy, which kind of is proven in the track record. In the 10 months that I started this, I mean, this is everything I've built, right? It's massive.
Indeed, it's very cool what you've built in 10 months too, and that's actually pretty good. Okay. brain fart there for a second. Sorry. Wyrm, Joe, anything else for a second while I try to figure out my sudden stop up and thinking?
You're trying to organize your thoughts.
Yes, because I lost it there. I had it and it went away because it likes that. Because my brain likes to do that sometimes.
I like to ramble too sometimes, so I may have thrown your track record.
Yes, we'll say that. Probably.
Good excuse for Matt. Going back to character stuff. So you were saying that you might be customizable sheets now. Would that be something also that you could create a sheet from scratch with?
Yes. So I custom character sheets building. I haven't decided yet, and I'm going to let the community kind of weigh in on this. I haven't really posed the question yet. It's either we're going to go with some sort of drag and drop system where I give you pre-built components to kind of fit with the look of Power VTT, or we're going to go the sort of Roll-20 look where you have to know a little HTML and you have to kind of program things in with images and stuff like that. I'm unsure what the better solution is. I mean, if you guys have opinions now, I'm very open.
I'm always for the more customizability because all you need is communities to build these things for you, and then everyone can use them. So, the programming I don't think is a bad thing at all, and it allows for people like me who have a little bit of tech knowledge to be able to kind of customize things and do those kind of things. So I always go for that. If there's an option.
I did have a comment at least that I just thought of. I like the weather that you kind of can do there, because I saw like in the little display the rain. What kind of weathers will you have? Because that's an interesting one. Because like I like sometimes going a little crazy with weather. Some people will be in this area will be able to account for my love of throwing things out there. You know.
Yeah, so weather is one of these things that I really like. This is one of these things that I actually built over a weekend while I was kind of bored. I really wasn't planning on having weather, but I saw someone else had rain in theirs, and I was like, I bet I could do that, and I did it. And so rain turned into snow, and then I met, okay, well, with snow you could do night, and so now I'm going to expand that, I think, into different cool things. So, like, I may have you enter a birthday, and then when you first join a game, balloons will come up. I may have a thing, like, I want to do, like, lightning. I would love to do lightning storms, so it's rain in addition to, like, flashes of light, stuff like that.
That'd be really cool.
I had a bunch of I wanted to do different filters, so that ties into filters, something I really haven't touched on because it's not something I really had planned on doing, but again, I was gonna knock this out in the weekend board. I want to apply filters to tokens, so if your player, like, drinks too much, you can apply, like, a wavy filter to their screen.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Or you could do different, like, stupid things like that I really think make the game a little more immersive and a little more fun for everyone involved. I think, does that answer your question with, like, where I'm going with weather?
Yes.
That ties to the it's all filters, right?
Yeah.
It's you can do a lot of cool things with that.
Yeah. So I'm just playing with this right now. I'm kind of curious, though, because I remember I run into this problem with Roll20. Is there any, like, is there like is there a file size limit to what you can upload? Because
Yes.
There is? Okay.
25 megabytes.
25 megabytes? Okay, so not too different from Roll20, I don't think.
So Roll20 is 10. The reason I upgraded it to 20 on 25 to mine is because I had a lot of people complain that, I have these big maps, and it's just annoying enough that I have to split them 3 times to upload 3 files. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world, but you bump it up to then. I have the power to bump it to 25. I'm small, right? I don't have a million people yet, so it's quite easy to just settle on that, and I think I'll keep it. It's been working out quite well.
That is so nice. I hate splitting up my maps for Roll20.
Okay, cool. All right. Let's see here. I think I handled most of what I had for questions about that I can think of right now. The dynamic lighting. I've always seen, like, very good for some good, like, fog of war and stuff of what you can't see. I'm definitely interested in that too a little bit, because that's an interesting one for lighting sources and too. I like it's like simple things like that I think are very immersive in these cases.
I had a user give me really good feedback on so it's a feature where you can have a token and you could hide it from players, and then you can emit light from it. So what that'll do is you could place those tokens over torches, right? And then when they walk into a room, it's already sort of lit up, and you can reveal different places of your map. A player gave me a really good idea of saying, like, if you're in a forest at night, you can add little lights or little hidden tokens to the trees, and it kind of makes it like a firefly effect as you're kind of walking through, which I thought was kind of a neat idea. Well, and that's kind of the cool thing about Power VTT right now too, is the community kind of pitches in, and we're inventing the best practices as we go.
Cool. Yeah, that does sound like a very interesting one. Oh. All right. Either of you have anything else at the moment? I think I can't. I've gotten most of everything I could think of originally for questions. So, Joe,
No, I just think it's amazing what you've done in 10 months.
That's another thing. Yes,
this is such a short time frame.
I tell people that not to, like, I don't mean it as a bragging point. I mean that honestly as a, if you back us on Kickstarter, this is where I can take it, right? Like, if this is possible in 10 months, what's possible in 6 more, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking. If you've done this already in 10 months before, even raising any funds, just think once you actually have the money and everything to continue with this.
And I'm really trying to spread the word. Like, anything you guys can do to spread the word, or any of the viewers spread the word about Power VTT, because the bigger the Kickstarter becomes, the more of a chance there is a big competitor in this space, where it really exists the big three. That's what you hear. You hear the big three, right? And I think, users should have a little bit more modern of a system coming out.
Right click to rotate. That is so elegant.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. And see, the map editor, I still want to add stuff to. I don't think it's even halfway where I want it to be, because I want to do a thing where you have, like, if you click a tile, I want it so you click shift and then you click all the way down and it fills that whole row. Then I want it so you click shift and you place it down and it fills that whole column. Then I want it so you could click in the center and it paints it. I really want to build that. I just haven't had time yet.
No, and it's like, this is just the beginning, and it's already you have the right mindset of user interface and making it easy and trying to make things quicker, because that's kind of the hard thing. That I mentioned Pro Fantasy software. They're just overly complicated, which makes for really nice effects and maps if you really know how to do it, but there's like, the learning curve is like a vertical wall.
The learning curve is hard, and I wanted to eliminate that as much as possible. One thing I know we're missing is tutorial videos. That will be coming. But yeah, the learning curve we're trying to keep way down.
And I like that too, because I always kind of felt like when I was playing around with a lot of Roll20, there's like levels of it that I haven't hit still, that I don't do a lot of mapping for in it, because it's sort of like there's this learning curve that I'm like, and
I'll give it a point though. For all that, there is a certain fun of discovery, and that I don't have either. I don't have the discovery element of it yet, which I know frustrates a little people, but it is coming. It can become convoluted though, yeah.
Yeah.
And you have layers, which is so nice.
Layers. Yay.
Like, not just the layers that, like, Roll20 has, where it's
Yes.
like, oh, there's your background, there's your character. No, it's like you can...
Yes.
It seems.
Yes. I understood what you were talking about. I did.
Sorry, there's just certain things where it's like, I've been trying to make these work by piecing together a bunch of different programs, and yours has a lot of the good elements.
Thank you.
From
Yeah,
these programs, which is why I use so many different ones.
that's kind of the goal. Like, make a really good core system and then expand outward.
Cool. Excellent. Anybody else have anything else to say? Tom, do you have anything else to say about your product here? I think we've covered most of the questions that we were going to ask.
Yeah, no, you could try Power BTT free for 10 days. That's about the only plug I have left. If you're a player, you could join a game for free. Otherwise, if you want to host a game, it's 25 megabytes free, 10 days free, and then the first subscription tier gives you 2 gigabytes. So we offer a ton of storage for you.
And the Kickstarter is starting in a couple of days, actually.
Yes, November 1st.
Yeah. Okay, I will link the Kickstarter in the description of this video when I upload it then, definitely. Because it should be up by then. I normally upload this, I'll upload it on Wednesday then, instead of Tuesday, just to make sure I can do that.
Cool.
All right, Joe, Wyrm, any other comments from either of you? I think I'm good to move on to this week's news stories.
Nope, you hit the last thing I was going to bring up, which was, I don't think we mentioned the date of the Kickstarter, which you got. So
There we go. This is really cool. It's definitely interesting. I know that Wyrm is excited about it, and so I recommend.
Like, I'm probably gonna see if I can maybe get this to work because I'm starting a role-playing game within a couple weeks to stream, and I might try using this.
Cool. All right, so why don't we, of course, move on to our next topic for today, though, because we do want to get to the news at least. So we'll start out with Tomb of Annihilation, the board game. Guess what? Just like with Wrath of Ashardalon, Castle Ravenloft, Legend of Dritz, and Temple of Elemental Evil, they put out a board game from Dungeons & Dragons for, of course, the Tomb of Annihilation, which just came out pretty recently. I mean, that's interesting. Are they going to all be tying in their stuff now? Like, Castle Ravenloft technically ties in with Ravenloft, but they put it out ahead of time, which is the only thing I have to say about that one. Is everything else just going to be sort of tie-in now? It's like Temple of Elemental Evil. And granted, you can play them all together, but is this a good thing to tie them all in or not? So, what do people think?
It's cool. It's a different thing. Well, not different than they already have, but it's
Well, I
it
think
looks fun.
the thing about this is when I play one of these board games, I feel like this is the form that 4th edition really should have been to a degree.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know, granted, it's a little watered down, but I almost feel like if I use this in 4th edition, it would feel a lot better, because 4th edition is felt very board game to it, you know, because you needed a map for a lot of the stuff in that game. It was very heavily,
MMO board game.
Yeah. Which
4th edition.
It's not terrible. It's just, you know, this feels like it's a lot more like that. And, I mean, it's cool that they do have it that you can integrate them all together. But also...
Yeah, when 4th edition came out, this would have been a perfect thing to come out with it. Like, here's a board game of this adventure.
They kind of did those, but they weren't quite of those adventures. Because, I mean, like, the first 3 came out during 4th edition, but they were their own stuff. You know,
right? Now, I think it's also interesting they have the regular edition, and then they have their premium edition that comes with fully painted miniatures.
Granted, they're 42 fully painted miniatures, but is that $80?
Well, when you think about it, though, the extra cost of painting 42 miniatures, it's not bad. It depends so. It depends. I mean, 1, it depends on how realistic you want it to look, and 2, yes, you could get the 1 color miniatures and paint them yourselves. But you're paying the $80 of, hey, I want the fine details, and I don't feel like doing this myself.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that. I just always think, like, the game is pretty big for.
Oh yeah, it's already $80, and then it's $159, so an extra. It's doubled the price basically.
Yeah.
To get the miniatures completely painted. If I were going to even go for the game, I'd probably just go for the base 80 because the painted miniatures is nice, but not a necessity.
The thing is, I have. Legend of Dritz, I believe, is the game I have. I have to remember which board game I have. I have one of them. It's over there.
The premium edition looks like it also comes with something for Neverwinter, WizKids exclusive bundle for $50 value.
What?
It says code inside, Neverwinter, WizKids exclusive bundle, $50 value. So maybe it comes with Neverwinter Nights for your computer? I don't know.
Hi, evasive stream niece.
At least on the WizKids site.
Stream niece, we need to
see the question is are there standard? Are there miniatures standard size in terms of, like, could you use them for other things? Because if that's the case, then actually the higher price might actually be worth it.
True, because then you're getting miniatures you can use elsewhere too.
I think they were standard size from what I remember from Legend of Dritz, that everything was still the same inch by inch square.
It does look like that. Looking at the pictures from it, it does look like they are standard size miniatures.
And I mean, they are including new trap and spell deck information for expanding upon their basic format. Because I guess that all of these, because they are compatible, have the same basic format. It's just that, I guess, adding a little more layers might not be a bad thing, that this one particular would help add those layers to the other ones? Maybe?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't looked at if people... Because I kind of feel like you could make your own adventures with these. I haven't looked at if people actually have designed some of your own adventures with them. Because I assume you could with how things are set up,
Yeah, I don't see why you couldn't, intermix the games and make your own things out of them.
Yeah. Because they just have a certain number of villains and tiles and rules for basically setting up each adventure. So, interesting. So yeah, it's out now. If you like the Tomb of Annihilation, I think it would be cool to check out. It does have some more features. If you literally like these board games, this one will definitely add to your collection since it does have new features, like new things on traps and spells, which is pretty cool. I mean, if you haven't tried one, I would recommend trying at least one of these board games. Since there are 5 now, which I guess between everyone I know, I can at least assemble 3 of them, maybe 4 of them. So, and this one would be number 5. So, I've never tried to play with more than one together anyway. So, but it'd be interesting. Anybody else have anything you want to say about it? Tom, feel free to drop in any of these conversations if you have anything.
No, I've been pretty out of this. This is the first I'm actually looking at this. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. I like their takes on these board games, too. I mean, I would have probably liked it for some of the other worlds the adventures they've had. So, like, they haven't had anything since Temple of Elemental Evil. So maybe it's just really spread out. But
Well, Tomb of Annihilation isn't a surprise since they just came out. Didn't they just come back out with it for 5th edition too?
well, I mean, they technically came out with it for 5th edition because it's not really an update. It's like a new adventure with some tones of some of the classic adventures, I thought.
Okay.
Plus, I think Pendleton Ward was like part of the writers, Adventure Time writer.
Yeah, I did hear that. But he's been writing a lot of stuff. So, I mean...
Oh, has he? Yeah. See, this is how out of it I am.
I hear small things, and that's then just remembering it. But yes, okay. So Tomb of Annihilation is out now. You could get it. $80 is the price, or you could get the 160 premium. And again, like we said, maybe you want to get it and also use the miniatures for other things too, or you could probably build your own adventures out of these. If I had all 5 of these, I'm sure with these tiles I could build dungeons to have my players go into just randomly anyway.
Right.
That might be an interesting thing to do, to try out doing sometime. I mean, it's not as good as some of those other dungeon tile sets of the past, but still. All right, I do want to talk a little bit about Alien Archive for Starfinder. Because I get the feeling this is sort of their bestiary, yet it's different than a bestiary. So Starfinder's been out for a bit now, and this is the closest thing that we have to, monsters. It's 80 bizarre life forms, combinations of classics and new, things like robots, supernatural entities. It includes 20 races that have full...
Which is awesome.
Yeah, that you have, player details if you wanted to play as one of these unusual races, which, I mean, I always liked with the Pathfinder bestiaries, where they would list, I could play this race. Granted, most people don't even look at that race to play it, but you could. It's like this.
What do you mean? Every Munchkin who ever plays these games pours through only the bestiary monsters
for Plant Man Alpha or something. It's like this is a plant creature that I could also totally play, and I'm like the GM's like, what? Where did you find this? What is this? What would this mean for my game world? You're a plant walking in the middle of town.
Do you know what I have to say to that?
What?
Justin.
Yeah, our friend who would do that. Anyway,
that's I have a friend who does this, would do the same thing.
He could not make a normal character to save his life.
Oh no, this sounds like me.
They're fun though.
Well, there's levels of it. He likes to find ways that almost break the game is the problem too. What was it? He did the Wizardception, I called it, because he found this apprentice wizard archetype in Pathfinder, which is really a weird place to find it. It was
that could also have an apprentice. That could have an apprentice.
Then he had an apprentice who could also have an apprentice. Who could also have an apprentice. So it was like, how many wizards are you bringing to this party? Wizardception.
Or the one wizard who was it a wizard he played that couldn't die?
Sorcerer
that could not die.
Sorcerer who...
He couldn't do any damage, really, but he just couldn't die.
Sorcerer with a 26 strength and a 26 constitution or something, It's like...
Yes.
Hit point sponge. Sorcerer. he made it, and that was probably one of the least ridiculous. But anyway, let's go back to Alien Archive.
NPC creation system to let game masters build any alien or creature they can imagine.
I like building stuff, and the thing is, like Pathfinder, a lot of systems I feel like, never have great building systems for monsters and stuff too. Like, you can, but I always worry about the challenge, the CR rating.
Like, screw actually trying to determine CR in 5e.
What was I doing?
It'll kill you.
It was my attempts to, because I was doing a little bit of that adaptation on Wednesday of that like adventure I'd written for Pathfinder originally. I'm trying to do it for 5th edition because you were there in the chat, Wyrm, and I'm like, well, what do I do to give this CR? I guess max hit points, something like that.
Yeah, to like raise the CR, max hit points and multi-attack. That's probably 2 CR.
Probably. I don't know. Can we judge this? No.
There are rules for judging it. They just suck.
The thing is, it seems like every edition, that's been the problem, is when you create your own monsters, is figuring out the exact CR and then getting it perfectly. I think and so if they have a good system for it, I'm going to be glad. That's the thing I have to say about it. Because I know I've had some really terrible errors of like 3rd edition's extra hit dice to increase the CR, plus then templates. Like, I made a monster that was supposed to be like CRX, and another monster was supposed to be like 3 CR higher, and they were the opposite. On paper, they should have been that. But the one was like super deadly, and the other one was, there's a pushover.
The hard thing is, it also kind of depends on your party.
That's also true, and sometimes like
something you think is going to be more challenging. It's like, wait, I have a spell for that.
Yeah.
Or I have this ability that actually somehow weirdly works here.
I do like how they are including, like, because it's a technological based system, technology in general, weapons, armor, magic items for the alien races that will help you do that side of it. Because that's definitely something that can, especially because this is a futuristic space-based game, alter things. Quick
There's a raptor with guns grafted to it.
Cyborg raptor. I mean, I think I've done something like that in a game, but that's besides the point. I don't know if it was a velociraptor, but I think I've like...
Stop grafting guns to that velociraptor.
No, I kind of like what they have, and I feel like I'm gonna need to like parse through it a lot more on my own to get a full idea of what they're really doing here. But I do like their idea of changing the way we look at a bestiary a little bit, or a monster manual. Definitely putting it something that I feel like it's adapting better to the system, I think is the best way to say it. Because the system is technology based, it's probably going to be more talking to a lot of these things, because not all aliens are monsters, there's going to be a lot more NPC races that you're meeting, so definitely going to think that. And I feel like maybe they didn't do this with the Pathfinder bestiary, at least because, well, they standardized it off of Dungeons and Dragons, which has standardized it off of what they've done since 1st edition. Which I guess again it is a problem that we're seeing, as we were saying, with challenge ratings with the 5th edition. It's because it's standardized in a way off of the 1st edition way that they presented monsters. Granted, there's been little changes here and there in the way that they present. Like I liked 2nd editions where they presented the creature, then they talked about fighting it in combat, then they included like an ecology and habitat, and I think they included a culture for some of them too, which I thought was really cool, because that was like, oh, this random slime has some kind of, like, does it have like some kind of culture? No, but maybe it's got like a group organization that we can talk about for a little bit. Like, oh, they might like move, like they like to group together and do this kind of thing, and it's something not combat related that I thought, adds stuff, which I think they brought back in 5th edition a little bit that they didn't have in 3rd and 4th, but that's a completely different complaint. What do you folks think about how they seem like they're presenting this here in that retrospect?
I do like it. I think it's kind of cool. It's a little bit different than a lot of RPGs do it. Pathfinder has gone very much the way of customizability, which is, because they basically are like, okay, we're already kind of convoluted and, like, have way too much stuff, so let's just kind of go fully into this and just kind of, make things super customizable, give rules for it, and, give people what they want, basically. The ability to do anything.
They really feel like that in Pathfinder. It's the ability to do anything. They have wholly embraced it. Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. Joe, do you have anything you want to throw into this one here?
No, it looks really interesting. I mean, Starfinder, I would love to try it at some point.
I think I know one person that has Starfinder, so that's the best I can say about it if we ever wanted to try it with ourselves. Don't know if he'll run it. I'll have to find that out. But Starfinder, yep, looks cool. I definitely want to try some stuff out with it myself as a game master. Oh, right. Anybody, anything else for Starfinder Alien Archives, or are we going to move on? Good? Cool. Alright. So here's one I did want to mention because it is basically stretch goals. Now, we do have to confess, it's Steve Jackson Games, and we have made our comments about Steve Jackson Games and their piles and piles of cash, of course.
Yes.
But apparently, it's Dungeon Fantasy, and they did a Kickstarter for it, which I didn't even know about until I heard that this is their stretch goals from their Kickstarter campaign, supplemented all together for people to purchase. That I guess aren't their Kickstarter backers, which I guess is a good thing because then it's rather than having it a Kickstarter exclusive, it was an exclusive. It's a timed exclusive. It feels like then because then I, as the average Joe Schmo, can go and buy it.
Right.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I really only heard a little bit about Dungeon Fantasy. It is built in GURPS to a degree. It uses the GURPS point build system. So I guess it's related to that. It's like a cousin, which is like Steve Jackson's things too. Is also GURPS to the end of time, apparently.
Yes.
But this is, I guess, their version of a fantasy game, which, cool. But I was really wanting to bring this up because it is the stretch goals for a Kickstarter supplemented together. And again, I don't want to bust on Steve Jackson if they are kickstarting things that, too much. We're going to probably do that with... yeah,
I'm saving that for Munchkin.
Yes.
I'm actually going to be a little bit positive here. I actually think it's kind of nice, especially since they have apparently like trap ideas and magic item ideas and stuff like that, which actually sound really cool and could be usable even if you're... And because of the way GURPS tries to be general, these are probably more conceptual and also probably usable or transferable into other systems, which actually might be kind of nice.
True. True. And it's intended for its own, but they do say it could work with GURPS, which is one of those things. They've made it's like they have two systems that are compatible to each other, just like Pathfinder and Starfinder, which I don't mind that they're doing that, that they're trying to do their own version of fantasy. But again, like, does it stand out? Does Dungeon Fantasy stand out on its own a little bit? I worry about that.
Assuming they actually built a world for it, then I think it would. I'm not 100% sure because it's not super descriptive on their website.
Yeah, the information provided doesn't yell at me that I'm different from other fantasy systems just a little bit, you know? Which,
yeah,
again,
but you know, because like D&D has its own, like they have Faerun, they have Eberron, they have these worlds which you can play off of, or you know, use as kind of like a basis to create your own worlds, which is super helpful and super. It's just nice, and so if they have that, it's kind of like here's GURPS with a world attached to it. That actually sounds kind of nice. You know, it's a way to use their system. It seems in fantasy.
Yeah, I guess that's a good thing, because I mean they do have their own sort of, they had their fantasy books in GURPS, but I guess combining things together in a way that is their own thing a little bit, yet still compatible, is an interesting focus for it. I do agree on that end. Again, it's just like I almost feel like it is a little bit like it's just GURPS with a spray paint, and that's what I worry. You know, that's really what I worry about, just like looking at it, because it is Steve Jackson Games, and it being compatible with GURPS, that makes it feel like that a little bit more. And I mean, if they use it correctly, which I'm hoping they are, good for them. And, you know, again, putting out a Kickstarter backer for something for people to buy that wouldn't have been there, yeah, I can agree with it. That's a great thing. That's something that, you know, they include an adventure, magic items, and traps is the big things, which apparently I guess those were the three big things that were Kickstarter backer rewards that they managed to get. And apparently it's a ready-to-play sequel to I Smell the Rat, which I guess is an adventure they've already put out for it. It's Against the Rat Man, which I guess that could be including some pretty cool... I'm missing what I was going to say. Pretty cool aspects to a world. There we go. Yes. I figured out what I was going to say.
Rat Man.
Na 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 na. Damn it! Oh, you got me on it.
You fell into my trap, sir.
I activated your trap card. For a minute I considered talking about Yu-Gi-Oh, but then I'm like, I don't know anything about it, and I don't know if we know enough between the three of us for me to like add in. They've yet put out another product.
That's actually link it to me and I'll let you know. I was really big into Yu-Gi-Oh.
One of these weeks I feel like, oh, I'm getting invaded by Stream Niece.
Stream Niece.
Yeah, who's bothering Stream Cat now? Who's been on my bed? Anyway, okay, so Dungeon Fantasy Companion. It's out now. If you are big into Dungeon Fantasy, if you like GURPS and like their fantasy forms, thank you, and it's out now. You can check them out. So, cool. All
Looks
right.
interesting.
Yeah, Joe's here.
Hi, Aurora.
He can hear you. He says hi.
Hi, Joe.
Okay, why don't you go... Is it your lunchtime or had lunch yet?
I had lunch.
Okay, why don't you go bother Pop some more? Ah.
Oh.
Alright, why don't we talk about Munchkin Shakespeare while I'm assaulted? Wyrm, you have some things to say. Why don't you...
I'm insulted by Munchkin Shakespeare.
Does someone,
Yes,
does someone want to introduce it? And then, like...
So, Munchkin Shakespeare. It's Shakespeare-themed version of Munchkin.
That they haven't
hated
everything in the world yet.
Yeah, and that they felt they needed a Kickstarter for, just in case people... They wanted to make sure people wanted it. Because, you know, because people don't already buy every piece of crap they throw in their store.
Because, you know, they don't... The stuff that you should consult the public on, like Munchkin Light, that no one really wants, and it's not worth the price to get less cards.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what insults me more, the fact that they made a Kickstarter or the fact that it earned 10 times its goal.
It really did.
Oh,
It had 5,280 backers.
Come on, people.
$295,109.
And their goal was 30,000, so almost 10 times.
Yes.
I guess
I'm
that answers
sorry.
why they don't sell it.
Well, now they're putting out a deluxe version of it. That's the thing that they've done. They are now actually selling a deluxe version of it, which I haven't mind. I don't mind their deluxe versions when they put those out. You know, those are like the ones that includes like the little boards and stuff. Which it's like, okay, if that's your first Munchkin to it, good for you. But now they're putting that out after they kickstarted, like, I guess, a normal version of it, or no.
Well,
Yeah.
the Munchkin, the deluxe version was part of
The Kickstarter.
the Kickstarter.
But now they're
Yeah.
selling it.
Yeah.
They earned their huge pile of cash, and now they're selling it.
Because, I'm sorry, but Kickstarter should be for companies who really need the money. Steve Jackson Games does not need the money.
It's
gotta
great
admit,
publicity,
though,
son. It is a
they are-
great publicity.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason I can still search for Roll20 on Google, and the sixth result is their Kickstarter. Like, they can't even beat the SEO on that.
I think that's one of those things too. It's like I can't argue with kickstarting it necessarily, because yes, it's a great way of getting out there. They're putting out some kind of product, and granted, yes, they're a company that could take the risk. So I'm not always so I can understand the want that where it's like, why are they doing this? But there are certain companies that use pretty much every one of their products to Kickstarter, and they're companies that are successful. But I can understand why they're doing that there, because there is also a definite intimacy that adds in with Kickstarter, because you can then customize, maybe I don't just want the game, I want that, autographed thing by Steve Jackson, or I want this exclusive there, or this exclusive there. And those are good things to it. So I think there is this fine line that does exist. And Steve Jackson Games, I don't know if Munchkin Shakespeare was necessarily the point that they're breaking that line. Because it is, yes, it's Shakespeare. Which, when we question some of their unusual Kickstarter or unusual product ideas in Munchkin, most of their main things are stuff that's popular. So that's the basic thing I could say about it. Steampunk is popular, Pathfinder was pretty popular, Marvel is popular. Shakespeare, I can see why they would have done it, though.
Shakespeare's a classic, though.
Have you ever like, okay, I was like in honors English classes in like junior high and high school. There are people who would buy this instantly. No
I
question.
probably would buy it. I love Shakespeare.
Yeah. And that's just, it's like, there are people who love it.
I have a big leather-bound edition of everything Shakespeare ever wrote, including his last will and testament.
There's a reason there are still Shakespeare plays done. It's good. There was no question people would buy it.
Yeah.
Okay.
They literally did this just to get some extra money, which is it's smart because they are using it to make bank.
Yes.
But it annoys people who see through that.
I guess so. I mean, yes. There is definitely a level to it that does seem like, I can agree with you to a degree, but again, I both understand it, and I don't have as much of an unhappiness about it, because I guess, yes, there was a lot of people that supported it and wanted to get it.
I wouldn't mind it as much if it wasn't that it seems Steve Jackson Games, as much as I love most of them, is just, they are always out for the quick buck. And it seems just kind of adds to the, hey, how can we squeeze extra money out of the next thing we do? I know, we'll do a Kickstarter.
I mean, I guess because when we talked about Munchkin Light and how it was not worth it,
Here's
You
less
know-
cards for slightly less money.
a lot less cards for slightly less money.
Base game, $25. Munchkin Light, half the cards, $20.
Yeah, I think that was the move that I think has put us in a different light when it comes to Steve Jackson games.
That's
so that's
fair.
Why, I think that's why we're looking at this differently than we would look at any other company looking at. I think a good example, I'm going to bring in something I put from one of the Kickstarters I wasn't going to talk about in Kickstarter Corners. Symborum, which is a game which I've talked about on this thing. They're doing a Kickstarter for their Monster Codex. Now, the Symborum, the company for it, is one that's actually relatively successful. If I can look up which company it is off the top. It's Morpheus. The people that do Star Trek adventures, who do Conan. But maybe this is because it's one of their lesser titles, and they want to know how, it's still successful, but not as successful. So I can understand them doing a Kickstarter for some of this stuff.
So in a case for someone like that, sorry, I want to make this comment. It sounds to me almost more like they're just trying to use Kickstarter almost as a way to re-announce and reintroduce this game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not as bad because it serves a much greater purpose. Because Kickstarters obviously get a lot more attention.
Yeah, it's
than if they were just to release it.
Right.
It's publicity, which we like publicity, and we like Kickstarter as a publicity source.
I don't even mind the last one when we talked about from Steve Jackson Games, them doing a Kickstarter for, because it's a lesser known product. Munchkin, everyone knows Munchkin. If you're a gamer, you know Munchkin.
If people are already picking these things up off the shelf, you throw one more in your online store, it's gonna sell like hotcakes.
Yeah, so a Kickstarter's not really necessary at all for it. I think that's why we're picking on the Munchkin Shakespeare one and not the other one, because it's a product that everyone is already aware of. That would be like D&D coming out with like a new book for 5th edition and going, we're going to make it a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Monster Manual 2 Kickstarter.
Yeah, it's like, no.
I mean, again, I feel like there are enough people out there in the world that would support it because they'll probably come up with cool backer goals, and backer goals will attract people to it. That's the thing is, like, if I probably had the money at the time that this was out, I might have looked at it because of the cool backer goals, because sometimes that stuff does attract me. Not, like, autograph stuff, meh. But,
well, the other thing is, too, you might be able to get it at a cheaper price with the Kickstarter than you're going to get it in the store.
Yeah.
Unless your goal for the sign thing is to get it and then resell it.
Yes.
I'll just hoard this until Steve Jackson passes away, and then it'll be worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then just like stare at Steve Jackson for a while. It's like, okay, you done yet? No. Dang it. All right. So yeah, I feel like I'm a little more neutral about this one just because I understand the uses of Kickstarter more like that. I do agree that Steve Jackson Games needing to do it probably wasn't the best.
Especially for a property like Munchkin.
Yeah. It's out now though, so if you are actually interested in Munchkin Shakespeare and you weren't one of the couple, the 5,000 so people that got it to begin with, cool. Munchkin Shakespeare is out, and it's a more unusual one, but maybe this is a better way of Munchkin taking it from some of our discussions. Go for more interesting, unusual things.
I'm hoping there's at least one joke in Munchkin Shakespeare that's like Shakespeare.
Oh, like you shake a spear?
Yes. I hope there's at least one joke in there for that.
Daddy wants me to get
Or even just a salt shaker spear or something.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Did we lose the internet because you knocked the
No,
thing a little bit?
we're still-
No.
Okay. The terror came and went once again. Anyway.
Stream Beast, the terror strikes again.
At least Streamcat just sits there and does nothing. I think you can sort of see her in the background a little, that black blob right down here.
Yes.
Yeah, I see him.
Unless he decides to claw your thighs.
Oh god, Streamcat. Anyway, Streamcat is the true existence of this chat room. There we go.
Yes.
All right. Cool. Why don't we move on, though, because I guess we've said what we need to about Munchkin Shakespeare. I mean, if you like it, cool, get it. If it's something that, again, you have a problem with them that they kickstarted it, we understand. Why don't we move on, though, to stories from the table, and we go from stories from the table of our guest. So
I thought we were going to do Kickstarter Korner.
Do you want to do that first? I don't know what order I put it in.
I thought we always put stories at the table last.
That was Our Week in Gaming.
Or Our Week in Gaming.
Guest stories from the table I was going to do first.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
Because we kind of eliminated the normal stories from the table to Our Week in Gaming for us.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah. So, guest stories from the table. So, we like tabletop gaming, and everybody always has some kind of story from it. Whether whether board game session that went crazy, an RPG, or some kind of collectible card game thing. Tom, what do you got for us?
Ultimate 50 card combo that you pulled one time.
Yeah. I got into tabletop. You'll be surprised I got into tabletop gaming late. I actually only played a year or two ago. Was the first time I really played. So I started with 5th edition, and all the stuff with 4th edition and all that stuff I'm actually really not all that familiar with. But with that, I haven't had much time to play, but I am starting a stream soon to kind of promote the tabletop Power BTT. I created my first character in I think a year or so, and I was really excited about that. So I'm playing a cleric, which I've never played a cleric before. So I've been watching a bunch of YouTube videos because they seem like such cool people. So I haven't played in so long. I feel so bad about that.
I understand. There was a time period where I had just a break from tabletop stuff that it happens sometimes for you.
I'm playing Gimbal Knackle Timbers Jimber Turin Burgle Dargle, but you can call me Jim. So I'm really excited. I'm playing a gnome. It's gonna be a blast. We're gonna be doing Twitch streams of this. I'm playing with Encounter Josh from Encounter Roleplay. He's the GM.
Cool.
So I'm playing with his some of his crew. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. I haven't played in years, and it's gonna be go right online, go right to the live stuff. So yeah. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yep.
Well, go gnome buddy.
Yeah, he loves gnomes too. Joe loves gnomes also. So you've got him. You've got him with that.
My friend played a gnome in the first game I played, and I was cracking up the entire time. We played with Roll20, and he kept doing backflips and stuff, and it just had me in tears.
Nice.
Cool. Excellent. All right. So that's cool. You'll have to make sure to let people know when your game starts. So definitely that seems like a cool one to check out. The name wins. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say that there. You kind of won with that name there, definitely. A good name wins a lot of times, and that's definitely one of them. All right, so our new segment that we introduced last week is, of course, Kickstarter Korner, where because there's always a lot of cool Kickstarters in the tabletop world coming out. One we talked about earlier today, for a good example. We like to talk about a couple of them that we find that we think are very interesting. Joe, Wyrm, which one of you wants to start out today? Because I'll allow you two to begin our assortment here of discussing.
Up to you, Wyrm.
Okay, I'll go first. I'm actually going to talk about NPC for hire, heroes and villains. And it seems like they have more than just heroes and villains. They have several. I don't know if those were earlier or if they're all around the same time.
I think they had a couple of more beforehand. They've had...
Oh, yeah, the other ones are finished. Okay.
Yeah, they've had 3 other editions of NPCs for a hire before. Mm-hmm. This group.
Yeah. But it's kind of cool. Apparently they're focusing on NPC villains this time, which is cool. And I do like that. I mean, they're all about just having artwork for games, which is really nice. Mm-hmm. And character portraits and stuff, which you don't normally get. Things focused on this, at least. They have an app for it and stuff as well, which is kind of nice. Yeah, but the reason I brought this up, actually, and the reason it occurred to me that this is a niche. I noticed they're not putting these things out on Roll20 or anything, and I kind of feel like this is a niche because I'd love to have something like this for Roll20, and I almost feel like um, Tom, you might want to contact them and see if you can get maybe artwork from them or something. That might be really cool to have just custom, like, or to be able to like buy a pack to like just have artwork for your NPCs and stuff that you, it's just something I don't normally see.
Yeah, I like the fact that it's basically, if you're unfamiliar, it's been something that I do like. I just don't find enough of it. Is like card decks for randomized stuff, which is very interesting things.
It's not even the fact that it's not even the card decks. It's that like just portraits. It's just, oh yeah, you can go and do a bunch of Google image searches, but I mean at that point, if you, especially for someone like me who streams, it's like, oh, I'm gonna have to contact 50 different people to try and, you know, see if they'll let me use their artwork, you know.
Yeah.
And that's just not, I just you know, I just rather not bother. But like, you know, if you can contact one person and have a plethora of artwork, you know, you purchase it, but you can use it. It seems like it'd be a very nice kind of thing to go to, especially if they have a virtual version on something like Roll20 or Power VTT, where I could show the viewers as well as players, because I think that's just an easy way to up production value for a stream. And it's just something that I feel like is still not there, because this is just cards and an app. This is not focused for like a Roll20 or anything like that.
Right.
Oh, I mean, I like it. I like it more from a different side than just the art. I like the fact that like you would draw a random card and then make an NPC based upon that image. I like that.
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like it for like a little bit of that kind of thing, because I think that's a good point in time sometimes when you're building NPCs, is you just need a little spark of something, and having like packs of cards where I could be like, this is my NPC. Oh, okay, I can build something off of this, and practicing, you know, maybe you have the same sort of look each time, but like using that as a basic, that like, you know, it's a picture. It tells you like, oh, this is an older person, this is a woman, you know, this is a man, this is a young person. These sort of things give you a good starting out point for that and helps you formulate PCs.
I mean, if you're talking about that, there's even a much better thing where just seeing someone's face can tell you a whole lot. Like in their like on their page, they have a picture of this like old woman holding like a staff or something. It's like that says so much more if you just throw that at a character than, you know, that I mean, you could describe it too, but it's kind of like just to throw a picture out there just is so interesting.
Yeah.
It's streamlines a lot of stuff too, because like if you're ever in a game and, you know, as a GM, some one of your party members wants to go talk to some off character that you have no plan for, it's super easy to draw a card and it's this guy, right? And then you can just streamline the game that way.
Yeah. And the fact is, like, I do like that, yes, this particular pack will be a like hero/villain pack, so you can draw like a card for a hero or draw a card for a villain. But they do say in their Kickstarter, like, you could pledge $20 more than the normal $20 for one pack, which is actually not bad. $20 for a pack of something like this is not bad. You can add in more additions, so you could still get like all 3 of the other editions, which they add humans, dwarfs, halflings, elves, and demons. Hi, Cat. Welcome back. It's because I disturbed you. Stream Cat returns. But no. I like it a lot. I think this is a very interesting one, and I do agree the artwork is really great, that you can use some artwork for some stuff, and I like the aspect of now you can just draw out things. And you can do, and they say, for reusing cards, they can do creativity. You know, it's like the bartender might have someone that looks surprisingly like him in another city. You know, it's like, didn't I see you in the last bar we were at? I get that a lot. It adds for an interesting character. You can do something like that too.
You met my twin brother.
Yeah.
One thing that I wish, it looks like the app has generators and all that stuff, which is really nice. Harping on what was already said, this really would feel like if it was built into like a tabletop of some sort, this would be a nice thing to have, right? Because cards give you so much, but with filters and generators, I mean, you literally have X possibilities now, right? It becomes you triple, quadruple, whatever, tenfold your possibilities.
Yep. I like.
Yeah, might have to reach out to them.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
their stretch goals are pretty good too. That it adds character description you can add to PDFs for it, and then stat blocks that you can go along with these things that you could edit, which actually is pretty interesting things to put together for it. Definitely. So the thing is, they're pretty close to actually being funded now. They're only like $750 from being it. It's 19 days to go, so they're pretty close to finishing up this one at least. And it sounds like they got the other 3 were funded, so I get a feeling that this one probably will be too. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely an interesting one to check out, and a pretty cool tool if you are a dungeon master or a game master. Yeah, I like this tool. All right, now Joe, you will actually have to send me the link of it because Joe found one on his own.
I will put it in chat.
Uh-huh. Cool. You're a mod, so you should have permission to put links.
There you go.
Cool.
So I'm going to be talking about one I found called Renown. It's by a new company called Yodel Games. They're based out of Austria. And it's a basic card game. Apparently, Austria loves card games, according to their video. And what is awesome also on their Kickstarter page there is in their video, 2 of them are wearing lederhosen.
What was I talking about the other night? I was talking about like some kind of animal in lederhosen, and I could just imagine it for some reason. Oh,
Okay.
a wallaby in lederhosen. Yes. I was at trivia, and they were saying something about a wallaby coming from what country, and one of them was Europe, so I was like, a wallaby in lederhosen. I want it now.
Okay.
Anyway, all right, that's Austria/Germany. Sorry. Weird tangent.
Kangaroo and lederhosen?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm just going to hide this cat for a while.
So, it's a pretty simplistic card-based game. It's interesting. Strategic round-based game. 2 to 4 players, but they also have a 5-player variant that you can do as well.
I love the artwork.
Yeah, that's what attracted to me at first was the artwork. 5 to 30-minute game, so pretty quick. There's 4 basic classes in the thing. There's goblins, ogres,
Oh my god.
weird frog people,
There's a
and then there's the schnapps-loving shiners.
there's a giant, what is this, a gnome king with his testicles out and a unicorn hat?
Yes.
I
Well,
think
it's a
that's the
cape.
ogres.
The ogre, it's a unicorn cape because if you look, it goes on his back too.
Oh my god. The artwork
then-
in this is fantastic.
Yeah, there's the greedy goblins, schnapps-loving shiners, the humfrogs, which the humfrog they have pictured is a very old, large-breasted woman who's wearing 2 ladybugs. It's weird. The artwork is very interesting and funny.
It's like Invader's Image almost. It's really like that kind of dirty, grungy style. It's nice. I really like this art.
Yeah.
There's 6 character cards and 2 action cards. No. 6 character cards. And then there's action cards. Actions can be like putting your enemy in a tutu to humiliate them.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, fairy costume. A card of your choice is degraded to the weakest card in the fight. There's different types of rounds that you choose what kind of round you want to do every round. There's normal, domination. Domination is one race will win the round, basically, which I thought was weird. Rum Fiesta, Pseudo Rum Fiesta, Power Domination, F the System, and Warden's Riot.
Wow.
Basically, you're trying to get the most points every round. And there's a one-on-one, one versus one single-player mode, 1 versus 1 versus 1 free-for-all mode, 2 versus 2 co-op mode, extended free-for-all mode for 5 players, extended co-op mode. Oh, actually, there's an extended co-op mode for 3 teams of 2, so you could have up to 6 players now. And also you can unlock the arcade mode.
The fitting round. Oh my god. Everything is just so greatly named.
Wow. It's ridiculous.
Pseudo run.
Oh,
Yes.
Here I found the rules now. So, yeah. So so domination is all races are equally strong, so there's no dominating race. This round, the only thing that matters is the value of the cards. So a normal round, I think round is 66 renown, or if it's possible. Okay, so that's how many points you need. Rum Fiesta. Only one player calls the dominating race in this round is able to play Rum Fiesta. The goal of the Rum Fiesta is to gain 66 renown with only 3 fights, or with only 4 fights for 3-player mode, blah, blah, blah. So that's, okay, so, and there's also, one of the stretch goals is a drinking game to go along with it.
So that's in the description. It says it used to be rewarded with stops. Yeah, this would be a fun drinking game regardless.
So, and the price points aren't too bad for the donation levels.
The reward is an engraved flask. That's brilliant.
Yeah, the base donation to get a print version of the game is only $8 US.
Mm-hmm.
Next level up is 15, and then 19, and then you can get the early bird version for 29. It includes all races, action cards, and stretch goals.
The flask one is the 29 one where you get the engraved flask. Wow. Or you get 37 for the other engraved flasks. Wow. Yeah. It's a drinking game. That's why I'm saying it.
And I love the artwork. You have chiefs, wardens, sorceress, soldier, and dork.
For classes? Yeah.
Yes. I want to be a dork!
Wow. So they are getting close to their halfway point for pledges, and they are 24 days to go, so quite a while still to get in on this one if you're actually really interested in Renown. It seems pretty ridiculous card game, and also drinking game at the same time.
Yes. Now the one thing I did look at, because I'm debating about doing this myself, is the shipping cost is a little bit because they are shipping from out of country.
Okay.
So it's €11 for shipping, which is
that's not the price of the game.
Yeah, it's about double the price of the game.
Okay, so it is European shipping, so it is a little expensive. Yes. Oh, that's the only thing to expect for us here in America. So make note of it if you are interested in supporting it, since it is a European game.
But the nice thing is also it's a brand new company, so you're supporting a company that, looks like they're going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. That's true.
Does Streamcat have one?
Streamcat will give some shout-outs to a couple of games before I go into the one I really wanted to talk about. Shout out to Era the Consortium for doing, apparently, Kickstarter expansions. Their entire thing is like, we're putting a small goal, and then every stretch goal is a new expansion. So that's kind of cool that they've done that. This is apparently their second time of doing it, of like throwing out 1 billion expansions to their game using Kickstarter.
Nice.
Shout out to Goblin, the Goblin RPG, where you're goblins in a post-apocalyptic Earth. Yeah. I liked that idea a little bit, but it still didn't beat out the one I'm going to be talking about. And I also want to shout out to the Heroes Crossing board game, because that one is an original, where it's a classic pixel RPG, but rather than being the heroes, you're a mayor running a town where the heroes will stop and get supplies.
And blow up your town in the process of saving
Probably.
Brilliant. That's great.
That's such an original idea. But the one that won out my heart out of the Kickstarters for this week is Monster Hunters Club. I'm sorry, it won out. So it is going to be using the Savage World RPG. It's a setting. You're a bunch of kids coming of age and fighting monsters in the 1980s. It's Monster Squad, it's Stranger Things, it's all those things. It's made to have, like, definitely, it's Goonies, Lost Boys, all those very 80s where you're taking the roles of kids. So that's the original thing I liked about it. It's a setting where it's specifically making you children. You know, you don't get that.
I have to say one thing that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The one picture of the Atari system with a cartridge that says Monster Hunter's Club.
Yeah. That was a good one.
They really went out of their way to make all the pages look like they were tea stained and like this is like they made the old every old. It's nice.
Yeah, that's been like out since the 80s, and you're getting it now. I like it. 18 archetypes, edges, hindrance, arcane backgrounds, powers, bestiaries, a town that you can use called Gulfhaven in Alabama. That's very 1980s. I mean, they're doing a lot of really cool things that are making it definitely feel like you're jumping into the 1980s and experiencing the game. And again, as I was trying to say, like, being a kid in an RPG is not something you get very often because it is such a weakened role. You know, you're not like the big hero or anything. You're a bunch of kids, like, you know, maybe some teenagers, maybe some, like, you know, 12-year-olds kind of in that area that are coming together to stop something weird happening in your town. Monsters, aliens, some kind of encounter. And from the looks of it, from what I've read, you can do something more like E.T. too, where maybe it's the government that you're facing against rather than the monster. So it does have a lot of cool elements to it that I'm very happy about.
Yeah, and on Drive-Thru RPG, they have a download of the preview of the PDF.
Oh, okay. That's good. So you can preview some things about it. I like the little previews they're doing.
I'll add that to the chat for you.
Cool, thank you.
Yes.
They do have a bunch of stretch goals they're planning out. They are already funded, so that's a big thing about it. It does have how many days to go? That I'm down towards the bottom. 18 days to go. They're 9,000 out of their 6,000 goals, so they've definitely exceeded their goal. And they have a whole bunch of stretch goals that they're planning out, which are like more adventures. A bunch of adventures written by people that I'm pretty sure these names I should recognize, like Jason L. Blair, but I don't recognize him. You know, Preston Du Bois. Like these names
that sounds familiar. Yeah, they sound familiar.
I'm sure there's someone like they're getting like one sheet adventures by like people that are probably we've heard stuff from that, but I can't remember these people.
Okay, and I'm looking at like they have some of the in the download of the PDF.
Mm-hmm.
They have like example classes.
Mm-hmm.
There's like the brain, hacker, sleuth, academic, the clown, junior Houdini, Joker, prop comic. Oh, okay. The clown is like those are subclasses in the class. So the clown's like its own. Clown is a series of things, and then you can pick specifically the Joker, junior Houdini, prop comic.
Yeah.
And same with the brain, and there's the academic, the hacker, the sleuth. So that's an interesting breakdown in the system there.
I mean, I would never do this, but I like that they have for their $1,000 that they still haven't gotten either of. They'll get the creator to come and like run a game for you at some place up to 200 miles from his normal location.
Nice.
So you just like agree upon a place that'll host a game for you. That's kind of awesome. I think that's like that's a very original one. That's like it's still it's pretty ridiculous, but I mean, if you want to try doing that with the person that made this, if you like it a lot.
I wonder if you could bargain with him to be able to do a web-based one.
Oh.
Since then, because 200 miles of him depends where he lives. If you can actually get that stretch goal, but if you'd be willing to do it on a web,
the center of the Kickstarter says it's in South Carolina. It's based out of.
Okay.
So I'm assuming it's 200 miles from somewhere in South Carolina, which, I mean, it's not a huge distance, but it's agreed upon there from there. So, I mean, if you got you and a bunch of your friends together to some place nearby to there...
Let's meet at a diner!
God. The amount of diner games I've had, wow. Yeah. or I guess a game store in that case would probably be a better one.
Nah, diner.
But no, this aesthetic like jumped out at me because I do like a lot of those movies and stuff. Like Monster Squad has always been one of those classics I've thought was really cool and things like that. And some of these movies, and it's very original to basically be, you know, a RPG setting there. So I think this one's pretty cool, and that's why I kind of wanted to bring this up as my main one to mention. So awesome. Why don't we move on? We only have a couple more segments. Why don't we go Our Week in Gaming, which Tom, if you want to add in something for your week in gaming in particular, if you did something interesting gaming-wise, you can also. But why don't we start, of course, with Wyrm? We'll do you, Joe, and Tom, if you've got anything, and then I'll finish up with me for our week in gaming.
The only game I actually played this week was the one on Monday with you, Tantus.
Cool.
So yeah, I mean, I guess it was just kind of interesting. Me and Tiv, kind of on the more chaotic side.
You guys
of
are like
things.
going chaotic evil. I really need to like.
Tiv is going a lot more evil than me.
Look, I really need a third person there for you guys if I'm
I
going to do that
know.
again.
Well, because we built our characters to be along with a party, and it's like, oh, now the two chaotic people are alone.
Whenever I do it, it's only you two, it seems. So.
Well,
Yeah.
let me know if I can possibly join in. Maybe I can bring a little balance.
It's unfortunately we've been doing it Monday, so it's been kind of difficult. I know, possible but not impossible. Possible but difficult for you. I know it would be.
It'd have to be after 7 and in by like 10 at the latest.
Oh my God, that's exactly the time I've done it past from 7 to 10.
Yeah. See, you could have invited me.
I could have invited you, but well, maybe if we do it next week, then you can pop in. The return of Karn to like get them back in order, like slap them. It's like, you two, what are you doing now? All right.
We'll just have to go back to some discussions on the boat.
God, the boat. Oh, the boat sucks. Joe, how about anything you can think of?
Well, I can think of one or two. Well, one, I'm going to say we had our sad episode last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Whisper's last episode, at least for a while.
Yep.
So we had our goodbye there. But the day before, or the night before, we had a very epic game of Star Trek. The customized card game, the second version.
Second edition.
That lasted from like 9:30 at night till 3:30 in the morning.
Oh my God.
Well,
And it was an epic. It was an epic battle between the Federation and the Ferengi.
Yeah, the Ferengi won because the Federation deck because we played with two pre-made decks, so we didn't know really the cards. We were not great on the rules, and so it took us forever to do anything in that game. And the sheer fact is, like, the deck he was playing was much better suited to battle against mine. So
Yes, I was able to kill off his people at times where there was no kill cards in his deck.
I'm the Federation. Why would I have kill cards?
There should be something like a stun or something that it's like, oh, return that card to your deck or something.
Well, apparently there's a brig mechanic that I could have had cards for. I could have thrown you in the brig or something, but no. Anyway.
Hey, and nothing was better than me having the two, what was the card name? God, the Fergie's name.
Oh my
Krunk.
God. Krunk, yes.
I had two because apparently Krunk is not a special character, so you can have multiple in the deck. So I had two Krunks, which I just love the name Krunk, because I'm just like, that actually has another meaning in the English language.
Krunk could have actually been the Ferengi that was getting, well, yes.
Krunk?
Yes. Yeah, our epic 6-hour game, which I was just like, no, I'm not going to win this. I'm done. It's been 6 hours.
Which we were doing through Lackey CCG, which I realized after the game ended, I'm like, oh, wait, it has a save feature. We could have just continued this game at another point.
Epic Tabletop. That was what it was. So we talked about Treasure of the Lost Legion, the D&D game we had on Sunday. I did continue my Pathfinder Apocalyptic Adventures on Tuesday. We talked about the adventures on Monday. The Apocalyptic Adventures, we killed a planet. Sort of. And a Cthulhuian Elder God.
Was the planet your father?
No. Well, apparently an incarnation of the planet was possessed by a Cthulhuian Elder God, so we ended up killing the Elder God and the planet too without separating them, because we're bad at that kind of thing. Womp womp womp.
Sorry about your planet, guys.
There was apparently two halves to the planet's spirit, and the other one was like, oh, now I am alone, and sunk back into the earth because we got it to help us. Which was the worst part, because we got it to help us kill its other half. Aww. We didn't really mean to. Oops. Oh. That was my week in actual gaming. I guess if people joined me on Wednesday, I made a couple of characters and worked on some role-playing game system stuff, so that was fun stream, which is... I will eventually get it out on my YouTube channel, but it was abysmal editing, because apparently the sound just messed up completely. That's fun. But I have to figure out that.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, why don't we move on to our final segment, which we... Eventually, Smoking Muffins, if he's here, was going to give us a question. I don't know if he showed up today. Ask us, what do I call it here? Ask the table. If you got a question related to tabletop in general, a role-playing game, a CG, just a board game, any kind of questions that we can help you out with, anything like that, go ahead and ask the table. I have an email, discussingtabletop@yahoo.com you can send it to. You can leave it in Joe's Twitter. He'll take the questions. You can leave it in the comments of these. Billions of places that you could ask us questions, and we'll ask it here. So if anybody in chat right now has one for us, go ahead. No one's asked us for advice yet. They're just so mean to us.
I
you
say,
even post it in my Twitter.
Yeah.
I say, give me a reason to actually use my Twitter.
Yeah, come on. Joe needs a reason to use his Twitter. He just sits there and doesn't do stuff with it ever. Give Joe a reason.
I think I've tweeted out one thing. And that's when I dressed up as Eddie from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Nice.
That has been my only tweet.
Okay. Well, it looks like I don't think we're going to have any questions today. Let me check, actually, the YouTube. Or the Yahoo, just to make sure. But I think that's... Yeah, I know. Occasionally, it shows up with something, but it has officially had no actual messages for mail yet. Alright, we're good. So, cool. I think we'll just go through the segment then. So if you have any questions for us, remember, you can ask them at any time in a lot of places, role-playing related or anything. If you're working on a character, you have a question, you want us to talk about it, you have a question about DMing, anything. Deck building for some kind of card game. Hey, we're good at deck building and stuff too for card games. We might not know the card game perfectly, but I can give you advice on it that might help you out, so... Alright.
Use cards.
Yes, exactly. That's great advice, Joe. See, that's why you're the person to go to for advice.
Preferably from the same card game.
Yes.
No. Magic deck versus Yu-Gi-Oh deck.
No. No. I have a deck of Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, and some Card Fight Vanguard cards all put together. It'll totally work. I call it Card-EO the Gathering.
Star Trek Vampire.
Anyway. Alright. Cool. Excellent episode. Why don't we have everybody promote themselves? Why don't we start with Tom, if you want to promote anything. You've done a lot of promotion, but if there's anything else about yourself or anything...
I feel like I've talked a lot about, Power VTT, but November 1st, we have the Kickstarter coming out. You can try it for free right now. Go to poweredvtt.com. That's poweredvtt.com. Tell your friends. We'll be launching pretty soon.
Yep, cool. Wyrm.
I am Diamond Wyrm. You can find me at twitch.tv/diamondworm, and at Diamond Wyrm on Twitter. I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. I'll be streaming tonight. And I haven't decided what I'm going to stream yet, though. But probably either world building or Dark Souls, probably. But I'm also doing a special stream on Halloween where I'm going to be playing a horror game, and I've never played a horror game, so this will be interesting.
Oh.
I'll be the first to admit I can't. I get way too scared.
I have no idea if it'll scare me or not. I really don't. Because I've never played one.
I'm good with certain types of games, others not so much.
All I know is I'm easily jump scared, so you'll have at least that.
Oh. I do not like jump scare games. Something like a good Silent Hill or more of a classic Resident Evil, those I can leave. just in time for the end. But yeah. So yeah, good luck with the horror game. I don't know what I'm doing.
And it will be specifically Outlast because that's what people voted for.
Ooh, God, Outlast.
Have
man.
fun.
I don't think I could do Outlast. Jeez. Good luck on that one. I don't know if I'm doing anything Halloween. I might do something special Halloween. I haven't planned it, and I'm bad at planning these things way ahead of time. So, anyway, Joe, yes.
I pimp you.
Exactly.
I'm gonna just throw out the plug again for going for PAX Unplugged.
Yep.
This almost in what,
3
a couple
weeks.
weeks now?
3 weeks we will be there. So we have 2 more weeks of us being here, and then we'll be technically off, but we'll have some kind of special episode probably. I don't know when we'll do it. I'll plan it out when I figure it out what's best.
Just a reminder, they also have the full list of now vendors there, but they do have the full list of all the activities going on. If there's anything you want us to specifically report on, like I've been saying, download the app and tweet us. Let us know, if there's something that you guys want us to review while we're there.
Yep, cool. So yeah, PAX Unplugged's coming up. That's going to be the big event for us right now. I actually did put in for media permission at PAX South, though I doubt I'm going. So if I actually get something with that, maybe I'll figure something out to go there. That's where I'm at right now with that one there. As for me, I'll be here tomorrow evening for some stuff. Probably gamings with some pokes. Don't know exactly what yet. I'll let you know. Be back for the normal week. Maybe we'll get once again with Joe this Monday. Maybe we can get a return of Karn popping in on there. That's otherwise normal stream schedule. We will have both RPG Day, which I don't know how to pronounce that. I came up with a moniker for it, but I just put RPG apostrophe D and then the rest of so it's like instead of Wednesday, it's like I just got rid of the WE and an RPG. It looks cool, but I don't know how to pronounce it. Exactly. And more, if people like the Magic stream, I'll do more of those deck buildings on Friday. Expect videos out on YouTube. If you've been watching the chat or if you are back on us, there's great ways to support me and everyone here. Of course, you can check out the Kickstarter when Tom gets out. You can go and check out Wyrm's channel.
Best thing you could do for me is follow me because I'm getting moderately close to affiliate.
Yep. You can always follow here, subscribe on YouTube for me. For more support, you can always subscribe here. I do have the Patreon. I have the Discord too. It's the chat, which I'm trying to actually be better about using for various things. So go ahead and check out my Discord too. More announcements and stuff will be there. All the links are in the various descriptions, and we'll be here. So I hope everyone's had a good time today. Thank you all for joining us. Again, at least me, Joe, and Wyrm will be back next week. Thank you, Tom, for joining us and talking about your product and joining us in the conversation.
Thank you guys for having me.
Oh, yeah, great. We love having people on that are creating cool things in the tabletop world. It's a fun thing. We will be next week then, and I'll be back here for various things during the week, but have a great day, everyone. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you all later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.